Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Anyway, if you're in, I'm in Spain, I'm in mainland Spain, and it is just about 25 to 6 in the evening, but depending on where you are, you may be in the morning, you may be in the afternoon, you may be in the evening, you may be on, I think we're probably all on Sunday. It's Sunday here, but you might be just coming into Sunday, or you might be just going out of Sunday. Here where I am in mainland Spain, we're in the early afternoon, let's say, or early evening of Sunday, the 10th of November. So I hope you're all well. I hope you're all having a good weekend. Now, what we're going to talk about today in this video, let me put a photo up. We're going to talk about these two girls, of course, the trial of whoever it was, or the person who's allegedly has murdered these two young girls, Libby and Abby. Is this Twonk, of course. Now, a lot of people think he's not guilty. As we speak, the jury are in deliberations again, I believe. I think they're deliberating again for Sunday. They've deliberated now. It's been a couple of days, quite a few hours, and that's a bit worrying because it makes you think, well, God forbid that they would find him not guilty. But why is they, if they were going to find a guilty verdict, surely it would have come out more quickly than now. Or maybe they've got questions to ask. Maybe they just want to talk about it a bit more. I don't know. So I thought what we would do today or tonight is we're going to look at the reasons why people might think he is guilty, and the reasons that people might think he is not guilty. So we're going to be the jury. We're going to be the jury tonight. Of course, we are not the jury. Only the jury has seen the full information about this case, or as much as is permitted, for the case. I mean, there are things that haven't been allowed in, like talk about third parties, or talk about this Odinism rubbish that they're coming out. There are things that haven't been allowed into the trial evidence, but also there are things that the jury will have seen that we don't know about, like the full audios of Richard Allen confessing. This is him, Richard Allen. I mean, believe it or not, these are all the same person. Every time I look at this and see them all like that compared to each other, you realise that this man, he is a chameleon. He has changed his appearance so much. Literally, this is the same person. This guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy, and probably Bridge Guy are the real person. Now, these two photo fits, some people are saying they don't look alike, but as you know, I think they do look alike because they've both got the fat cheeks, the same fat cheeks that Richard Allen had before he started losing weight, and then he started to look more like this. But anyway, I'm sure the jury have seen all this as well. The jury have heard the full video of the Bridge Guy. They've heard the full confessions of Richard Allen. They've seen lots of things that maybe we haven't seen. So, but they're still deliberating. So the thing is, are they deliberating because, what's the situation? I mean, obviously there are 12 people in a jury. It could be that 10 of them are convinced he's guilty and 2 of them say no, he's not guilty. Could be the other way around. Could be 10 of them are convinced. I've forgotten which way I said it round the first. 10 of them could say, no, he's definitely not guilty, and 2 of them say he's guilty. So is this going to end up to be a hung jury? Is it going to finally go for a guilty verdict, or is it finally going to go for a not guilty verdict? So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to look at all the different evidence again, go over it all again, what we know anyway, which, as I say, is not everything. And we're going to look at it and then try and make a decision. I've got a couple of little videos to show you that you might not have seen before. And I'm going to show you why, in my personal opinion, I do think he's guilty. But I don't know, and I am not the jury. Now, the thing I want to put here in the comments is, this is, if you want to actually come on and talk, you know, if you actually want to come on and talk about this, you don't have to show your face. Follow this link here. And you can actually come in and say what you think, obviously respectfully. Don't come on and start swearing and everything. Only I'm allowed to do that. But yeah, okay, let me just, so I'm putting that up there. If you want to come on and say your piece, please do. Now, what we're going to do, so first of all, before I say hello to everybody, before we go into it, I want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you to everyone for subscribing. Thanks to those that have sent a super chat or bought a Ko-fi, PayPal me, but a special, very special thanks. Don't forget, tomorrow night is Monday night and it's members only live. We might be talking about the result of this trial. That's tomorrow night. So if you want to become a member, please please consider becoming a member. So also thank you to everyone who sends emails, leaves positive messages, or anyone who contributes to my channel. Thank you so much. So let me just say hello to everyone. Now, I just want to tell you a little bit as well before I say hello to everyone about my day. Oh my God. So it's Sunday today. Today, those of you who know me, you'll know that my son has recently started working at a bar, and I normally have to go and taxi him to take him there or bring him back or whatever. And today he's not working, so I was looking forward to today, a day I don't have to drive anywhere. I can have a little drink if I want to. I can just relax. I did a stream this morning. Was planning on doing this stream later on today. And after I'd finished my stream this morning, I thought, oh, great. I can sit and have a little drinky now with my lunch because I don't have to drive anywhere. I don't have to do anything. Oh, so go and get my alcohol, like a bottle of whiskey that I had for the weekend. I mean, not that I drink a whole bottle of whiskey in a weekend, but, it was that, oh, it's gone. It's gone. Now, my son, he doesn't drink normally. So suddenly he started working in a bar, suddenly decided he wanted a drink. So after I've gone to bed last night, it's gone into my bottle of whiskey and there's literally, a little sort of spit left in the bottom of the bottle. So anyway, to cut long story short, I had to wake him up accidentally, of course, because he would have slept all day. And excuse me, can I have some money? I've got to go and buy some more sort of whiskey or wine or something, because at the end of the day, it's Sunday. And if I can't have a drink on a Sunday when I don't have to actually take him anywhere for once, normally I'm bloody taxiing here, there and everywhere. So we sorted that out. And then the other people that might know, another thing that people might know if they watch my channel regularly is I stubbed my toe last weekend, and I think I've broken my toe or my foot or something. I've been in agony all week. Today's the first day that I've woke up and thought, oh, it feels better. And then the dog, the German Shepherd, stood on my foot. So then I was in agony with my foot, and I'm thinking, this day's just not going as I was expecting it to go. Anyway, it's fine now. It's all settled down. And there's always a lot worse things that people are going through. And of course, the worst thing that people are going through is Abby's family, Abby and Libby's family, waiting for this result, waiting to see, is this man going to be found guilty? And if he isn't found guilty, who is guilty? If he isn't guilty, who is? That's the big question, isn't it? Are they going to get justice? What are you barking at? So that's what we're going to look at. So remember, anyone who wants to come and put in their 2 pennyworth actually live, you don't have to show your face or anything. I put the link there. I'm going to put it again. Honestly, please come and talk about it, because it's good. It's good to talk about things, discuss things. You get a different point of view. You get a different perspective, whichever way you're looking at it. Okay, so let's have a look at, first of all, I'm going to say hello to everyone. And then so remember, be polite to people. We've all got our opinions. The only thing that I will not tolerate on this live, I don't want anyone accusing Libby's sister of anything or involving the family. At the end of the day, whoever killed Libby and Abby, it was either this guy or some other twonk, but it was not anything to do with Libby's sister. So I will not tolerate that. If you want to come on here and say nasty things about Libby's sister, I'm not having that. You'll just get banned straight away. But anything else, as long as you're respectful, you give your opinion, that's fine. But I don't want anything said bad about Libby's sister. Okay, hi David, hi Jojo, hi Darren. Yeah, I feel for the jury in this case, because, well, I feel for the jury. I've done jury service myself. It's hard, and when I did jury service many, many years ago in Reading in the UK, the thing is, everyone formulates their opinion pretty quick, I think, for whatever reason. And then the different jurors, they do have an effect on the other jurors. And then you'll have some people who are convinced. I mean, some cases are black and white, aren't they? But a case like this is not so black and white. I personally think it is black and white. But, I can see how people don't think it's black and white. And then you've got if you imagine that the jury are 12, 12 citizens of America. So they'll have their opinions just like anybody else. And when you look at the opinions that other people have, they'll be representative of that, won't they? So there'll be this is what makes me think I don't know if it is going to be a hung jury. I don't know that it's going to be a positive guilty. I don't think it's going to be a not guilty. Well, I certainly hope not. I'm 100% certain this case is not going to be a not guilty, but I don't think the prosecution have been effective enough to make it 100% guilty. But I could be wrong about that as well, of course. But yeah, the jury have got to get it right, because this is a big thing. This is not just like, did someone shoplift, or, did someone steal a car? This is a life sentence we're talking about here. So it's important that they get it right. Hi, Jojo. Yep, if that's your opinion he's not guilty, that's fine. Frigidi thinks it's not guilty. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Fluffy. David, I'll tell you something. I've never had to hide. I have to hide food sometimes, because any nice food that's hanging around, I do have to hide, because my son will steal it. When I say steal it, you know what I mean? If I don't get, because if I get a bar of chocolate, say, I will have just a couple of bits of chocolate, and then tomorrow I'll have another little bit. I won't eat a whole bar of chocolate in great big bar of Cadbury's or whatever in one day. But my son would, because at the end of the day, he's like, he can do that. So I do quite often hide chocolate and snacks and biscuits and things. But I've never thought about hiding alcohol because he doesn't drink. My son normally never drinks alcohol, or he might have a couple of beers here and there with the football or whatever, but literally hardly anything. So it never even occurred to me, but that's changed. I know what I'll be hiding next time. So anyhow, it's somewhere else where he won't know where it is. Sorry, whinging about my things. But so let's have a look. So what do we think? Now, what are the cases? You're right, Darren. I need a secure cellar. I need a bloody cupboard that I can put a lock on. It's ridiculous. Listen, anyone who's got adult children living at home with them, they probably understand what I'm talking about. It's just like, and the other thing, it's even like, even if you don't mind them having it, what my son will do, he'll finish off a I don't know, box of biscuits, but he leaves the box in the cupboard. So you don't know you haven't got any biscuits until, it might be 3 days before I feel like I want a biscuit or a whatever. And then you think, I've got that box of biscuits in the cupboard because the box is there. You pick up the box, there's none in there because he empties it and then he doesn't put it in the bin. But anyway, there you go. I'm sure anyone who's got an adult child living at home will understand. So, what are the reasons why this guy might be guilty? What that the jury will be considering that make him guilty, or that possibly makes him guilty? So, in my opinion, and you put your things in the chat, please, and anyone who wants to come on and say what they think, my reasons why I think he's guilty is, well, apart from his eyes, because he's really creepy. He's a very creepy guy, but of course that doesn't mean that someone's guilty. But, there you go, looks guilty. Look at the way he's changed his appearance. I don't know why people can't see this. I'm 100% certain he's bridge guy, for a start. The way he's changed his appearance over time is, deliberate as far as I can see. He confessed to it 62, and he did not confess to these murders under duress. He confessed to these murders calmly, to his wife, to his mother, to his psychiatrist, to his prison officer, over and over again. And, all this talk about psychosis and everything, well, now he may have mental health issues, but I don't see how that makes him innocent either. If it's true that he's got mental health issues, that's more likely that he's guilty as far as I'm concerned. Because, someone who did something like this, slit the throats of these two girls. Let's not forget, I feel that Abby and Libby, they've got lost in all this. These two girls, they went for a walk. They went for a hike. They were dropped off by their sister, and they were supposed to be picked up by their dad later on. And they had their throats slit. So, they didn't do that to themselves. Why are people so protective of Richard Allen? I honestly can say, I do not understand why people are so protective of Richard Allen. As far as I'm concerned, the only protective instincts I have in this case are for these two girls and their families. And people are out there talking the biggest load of crap that you've ever heard about Libby's sister, particularly. And you just think, why? Why are people so protective of Richard Allen and not so protective of Libby and Abby? There is nobody else that this can be. But anyway, never mind. So don't forget, if you want to come and say, if you want to come and talk about it, please come on and talk about it. Now, it may be, Jojo, that more than one person has committed the crime. That's a possibility, but that doesn't mean Richard Allen is innocent, as far as I'm concerned, because his bullet was there at the scene as well, wasn't it? I mean, what we have to remember is Richard Allen, he said he was there. He said he was there at the scene. He said, not anybody else. He said he was there. He said the clothes he was wearing, the phone that he was using at the time has never been found, or, what happened to that phone. Now, I do agree that the prosecution haven't done the most brilliant job of proving his guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. I do agree with that. But I don't think the defence's whole argument is he wasn't telling the truth when he made those confessions. So they've tried to prove that when he made the confession, the 60 odd confessions that he made. So don't forget, this wasn't only one confession. They weren't forced confessions. He made a lot of confessions, and the defence's whole argument really is he was under psychosis when he made those confessions. They haven't really got any more than that, have they? They haven't got any more than that to prove that he's innocent either. And there's a bit of, there's a lot of fuss made about the DNA, of course, or the lack of it. There was no DNA. But I still think he washed them in the creek, or he wore gloves, or, there was no DNA from anybody, not only him. So, that's like saying, oh, well, because there's no DNA, well, then they weren't even murdered. Maybe they slit their own throats, hey, because there was no DNA of anybody, never mind just Richard Allen. There was no DNA. And that does not mean to say he wasn't there. And of course, the bullet was there from his gun. He admitted he was there on the bridge. I think really there's not much doubt that this guy was there. Or that he was bridge guy either, in my opinion. But anyway, just Beth, yeah, it wasn't under duress. We haven't heard, but the jury have heard his confessions. They were he spoke on the phone to his wife and his mother. Wasn't under duress then, was he? When he spoke, you saying that when he spoke to his wife on the phone, we haven't heard the actual phone call, but we've seen the transcripts or the notes that people wrote. And he told his wife he did it calmly. And she said, no, you didn't. And he said, yes, I did. And she said, no, you didn't. Stop talking. Are you saying that was under duress? Or when he spoke to his mum and he confessed to his mum or to the prison guard? They weren't under duress. Sorry, just Beth, I'll take what you're saying, but no, they weren't under. No, anyway. The jury will have heard that. The jury have heard the actual audio of the phone calls. I haven't. You haven't. So I'm only going by what the notes that people made that were at the trial, who said that it was very calm. He found God, hadn't he? And he said he wanted to confess because that meant they could all meet in the next world. He knows he's going to hell because of what he's done to these girls. His concern was, after he'd sort of got all biblical, was that he wouldn't see his family in the next life. So he confessed to them rationally, calmly, not under duress. Everybody's notes, just Beth. I have read the whole transcript. You say, look, I'm sorry, with respect, you're wrong. You are wrong about that. He said Well, I accept that, Fluffy. If people have got reasonable doubt, that's fine. But he said exactly what happened. What about the white van? That he said that he took the girls down the hill. This is what he said. He knew things that only the murderer would know. He took the girls down the hill. He slit their throats. The white van distracted him, frightened him. Only he knew about the white van at that time. There's so many things. But anyway, we'll see, because anything we talk about, you can say to me, "Oh, read the whole transcript." I think I could say to you, "Why don't you try reading the whole transcript?" And we could argue till we're blue in the face. But the jury has had all the information, haven't they? The jury have had all the information. The audios have seen the videos of him in prison where he's supposed to be undergoing psychosis and blah, de, blah, de, blah. We've had the expert from the prosecution say he wasn't having psychosis. Then we got the expert from the defense saying, yes, he was experiencing psychosis. So the actual jury in this trial, they've seen everything, things we haven't seen. So they'll decide. No, he did say a white van. He did say a white van, Fluffy. He did. Anyway, what we're going to look at now, because out of, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that are saying all sorts of things that to me are crazy. But one that isn't, one who has actually met Libby's family and been involved in this case, of course, is Greg Hughes. And I've been following some of the things he said. I've been following the other idiots as well, just to see what they're coming out with. But, the thing is, everything's about evidence, isn't it? And I do agree that the prosecution hasn't given the best case that they could have given. But I still don't think the defence have come up with any reason to say, to me anyway, that he is innocent. So what we're going to look at is a video clip that I hadn't seen before, that Gray Hughes showed, and I don't know where he got it from. I don't know if it was on Facebook page of Richard Allen or his wife or whatever. Let's have a look at this. I don't think, you may not have seen this before. Might be better to do it. Hang on. Might be better to do it where I can stop it and start it. So this was a video clip that Gray was showing earlier today or last night. And so Rich, see, to me, I just go, I do go, apart from the evidence, obviously the evidence is important. The evidence is the most important thing. And I think there's loads of evidence to convict Richard Allen, not apart from his confessions, the bullet, the video on the bridge. There's plenty of evidence to convict Richard Allen, but apart from that, it's just the whole creepiness of this guy, and there's definitely, have a look at this. Have a look at this face. So Richard Allen, he's sat in the car and his wife comes up at the side of the car and surprises him. Now, he doesn't know she's there. He's looking at something on his iPad covered up by something. If you ever see a person who looks guilty, to me, look, just this guy's face says it all to me.
he's looking at her. But look, he's like, oh, and he covers it up with something. Why would you do that? It kind of does look like a crossword puzzle, though, doesn't it? Or maybe underneath that was, maybe he had that on top of the pad and he pulls it out. You know, what's on that thing? That looks like an iPad there. You see that?
Look at that face.
Yeah. See that face he's making right there?
Exactly.
Does that look like he is subservient to his wife? Hey, thank you. Tighten up. Hey, we're getting close. We're getting close.
I think what you've got, look at that face. That to me, oh my God, it gave me the chills. So this was probably the last face that those two poor girls saw. And you know, Libby, the blood on her face was mixed with her tears. You know, that girl probably saw her friend have her throat slit. And, you know, what I personally think happened, because, you know, Abby, the slit across Abby's throat was a lot cleaner than the slit across Libby's throat. And I think what probably happened was Abby was just completely taken by surprise by it. Libby probably witnessed it. She was crying, her tears were mixed with her blood. And then this face, well, and she probably fought when he was trying to kill her. Just disgusting, this man, in my eyes. And that, to me, is the man that was the last face that Libby and Abby saw in this world. And you know what? I think he's 100% guilty. I personally think. That is the face of a psycho.
This is what it sounds like right here.
Then listen to his wife now. So his wife, she's come out, caught him by surprise doing something. He's probably, I don't know what he was doing on his iPad. He's covered it over with something. That also, to me, is a face of someone who knows he's been caught out with something or feels he might have been caught out with something. And his wife, well, I don't know her, and my instinct is to feel sorry for his family as much as I feel sorry for Libby and Abby's family, because, you know, finding out that your husband is a psycho who's murdered two 14-year-old girls, or 13 or 14-year-old girls, is not a nice thing, is it? So I would feel sorry for her, except I find it hard to feel sorry for her because she can't accept what he's done. You know, and when he was trying to confess, she was telling him, stop talking. I would have been saying, even if I didn't really believe what he was saying, I'd be saying, well, what do you mean? What do you mean you did it? Well, come on, let's sort this out. Or, you know, you're mentally ill or whatever was. She wasn't saying any of that. She was just shut up, stop talking. She wasn't trying to find out what the truth is. She doesn't care about Libby and Abby. She only cares about her own life.
There's a wheelchair coming up.
You know, and
Yeah.
Gray makes me laugh because whenever there's a nutty thing coming up, he always says there's a wheelchair coming up. And that's, did you hear her laughing? Ha 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 ha. Let's hear it again.
Sounds like right here. There's a wheelchair coming up. God, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if she had something to do with his mental decline. Let's see. What's the
His
other one?
face.
But this one? Let's play that one. Look at that.
We're going down.
So this is another video. I don't know where he's got these videos from. It's the first time I've ever seen them, but they're on some sort of, what do you call those things? Cable car thing. And listen to the voice of Richard Allen. And you tell me that's not the bridge guy voice. So he's saying, oh, what if the cable falls or the cable snaps? And she's like, oh, it's not going to snap. Shut up, shut up. She likes telling him to shut up, doesn't she?
See? Same time ginger snaps.
Down.
Cable snaps.
Hey, the cable snaps.
Shut up.
Shut up.
A snap.
Not going to snap.
Shut up. It's
Enjoy
not gonna
reading, but
snap.
it's not going to snap.
There's a wheelchair coming up. Oh, I got somebody here. Hold on. I didn't realize there was somebody sitting here.
Right, hang on. Let's listen to it's his voice that I'm most interested in.
Let's see. What's the other one? But this one? Let's play that one. Look at that.
We're going down.
See? Same time ginger snaps.
Down.
Cable snaps.
Hey,
It's the cable snaps. Now, it's not very clear.
A snap.
I don't know if you can hear that or not. If the cable snaps, sounds just like the bridge guy.
Shut up. It's not going to snap.
Shut up. It's not
Enjoy
gonna
reading,
snap.
but it's not going to snap.
There's a wheelchair coming up. Oh, I got somebody here. Hold on.
Down.
Cable.
See? Same time ginger snaps.
Down.
Cable snaps.
Hey,
If the cable snaps, did you hear it? It's his voice, the bridge guy's voice.
Let's play that one. Look at that.
We're going down.
Cable.
See? Same time ginger snaps.
Down.
Cable snaps.
If the cable snaps. Now, it's not dead clear, so you may not have caught that. I'm going to put that whole video back to the beginning.
He's looking at her. But look, he's like, oh, and he covers it up with something. Why would you do that? It kind of does look like a crossword puzzle, though, doesn't it? Or maybe underneath that was, maybe he had that on top of the pad and he pulls it out. You know, what's on that thing? That looks like an iPad there. You see that? Yeah. See that face he's making right there? Does that look like he is subservient to his wife? Hey, thank you. Tighten up. Hey, we're getting close. We're getting close. This is what it sounds like right here. There's a wheelchair coming up. God, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if she had something to do with his mental decline. Let's see. What's the other one? But this one? Let's play that one. Look at that.
We're going down.
Cable.
See? Same time ginger snaps.
Down.
Cable snaps.
Hey, the cable snaps.
Shut up. It's not going to snap.
Shut up. It's not
Enjoy
gonna
reading, but
snap.
it's not going to snap.
There's a wheelchair coming up. Oh, I got somebody here. Hold on. I didn't realize there was somebody sitting here. All right.
Anyway, so of course we don't know. I just wanted to show you that because when I saw him, particularly his face on there. Now, yeah, a lot of people are thinking it's Ron Logan. I made a video a couple of days ago and we looked at Ron Logan. Personally, I think he's too tall. He's far too tall to be the bridge guy. Let's have a look again at the bridge guy. Bridge guy is shorter. Of course, Richard Allen is out. I think he's 5'5". Richard Allen, to me, I've got to say, I can't believe, or I'm surprised that the police haven't made some sort of height, in the technology we've got in this day and age. Why don't they know exactly how tall that person is? The bridge guy. Can't they tell how tall he is? Surely they can project that. Or, with the technology we have these days. And I would say Ron Logan, from what we watched the other day, the videos of him, Ron Logan's too tall. He's got too much tummy. This guy is stocky, but, he hasn't got loads of, he's not massive. Whereas I thought Ron Logan, he did have quite a big sort of beer belly type thing. And the biggest thing for me is, as well, these pictures, these photo fits, although they don't look to me, that particular photo fit is a spit of him as far as the cheeks are concerned, bearing in mind he's grown a beard by then. But when he didn't have a beard on these photos, look at the cheeks that do it for me. And then of course, and you can see the cheeks on here as well for him. But no, and now he looks like a completely different person. Why did he change his appearance so much? He's like, but the one thing he cannot change are those psychotic eyes. His eyes are psychotic, I'm sorry, but they are. And he's had mental illness for years. The defence sort of brought all this up as a defence, but it's not a defence. If they're saying, if suddenly, they're turning around, he's had psychosis and he's had this and he's had that. But, I don't personally think that helps his defence much. Because if he's had all those mental problems, domestic violence, all sorts of things that have gone on in his past, then that makes it quite likely that he might slit two little girls' throat. And not that mental illness means that people go out and do things like that necessarily, but if he's had psychotic episodes, there's a part of me that thinks that day, did he go? Why was he there at the bridge? And he was there. Nobody can say he wasn't there because he said he was there. And he said, him, not anybody else, he said he was wearing these clothes that bridge guy was wearing. These were what he said, not anybody else. So no one can dispute that because that's his own testimony. So he was on the bridge. He was wearing those clothes. What was he doing there? Did he go there to do something to himself? I sort of wonder about that. Because he'd gone there, he had his box cutter. Well, he would have had that all the time because that was part of his job. He had his gun with him, did he? Because then was he trying to maybe do something to himself? After he'd killed those girls. And then, of course, his gun all went wrong and the bullet just went, who knows what happened exactly that day. Will he ever come clean with it all? Anyway, I'm going to have a look just to see if this, because I think they're back in now, aren't they? Aren't they back in, the jury now? Let's have a look. Yep, let's have a look. They've resumed deliberations again. I mean, how long is this going to go on for? And I can't decide if it's good for the defence. Well, it's probably not good for either party at the moment. The longer the deliberations
The jury that is deciding the fate of the man accused in a murder trial that has really captured the nation, the killing of two teenagers in Delphi, Indiana. Jurors preparing for their fourth day of deliberations after working through part of the weekend. Is a verdict imminent, though? ABC's Ike Ajachi is following it all. Ike, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Gio. The jury has now deliberated for 14 hours over the span of 3 days in the double murder trial of Richard Allen, a process that will continue into next week.
More than 7 years after the brutal murders of two teenage girls in Delphi, Indiana captured the headlines, this morning, verdict watch in the trial of Richard Allen. The jury has been deliberating for over 14 hours. This after 17 days of seeing evidence and hearing testimony about the killings of 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German in 2017. Allen has pled not guilty. In their closing arguments, the prosecution showing the jury the infamous bridge guy video that Libby captured on her phone just moments before she was killed near the Monon High Bridge. Prosecutors say it's Richard Allen's face and voice. 52-year-old Allen, a Delphi local who worked in town at CBS, self-reported to police being at the bridge just days after the girls were found. Despite being interviewed, he didn't become a suspect until 5 years later, due to his statement being put in a filing cabinet with the wrong last name. It wasn't discovered until 2022 by a volunteer clerk. Prosecutors say they tied Allen to the crime by linking a bullet found at the murder scene to his gun, and that Allen confessed to the killings about 60 times while behind bars awaiting trial. The defense slammed the state's case, saying the ballistics testing and the investigation was bumbled, and that Allen was not in his right mind during those prison confessions after spending 13 months in solitary confinement, telling the jury that the United Nations defines any more than 15 days as torture.
Now, media is not allowed in the courtroom since deliberations began, so it's unclear if the
just
jury has had any
realised I
questions or notes for the judge. There are no deliberations today, and the jury will return tomorrow at 9 a.m.
I just realised I
All
forgot to take the
right, thank you
photo
for
off,
that.
so I'm going
The
to start
jury that is
again.
deciding the fate of the man accused in a murder trial.
Now, I just want to say someone said something about the bullet. The bullet has been proven to be from his gun, 100%. So it was his bullet. The argument is, when did it get there?
That has really captured the nation, the killing of two teenagers in Delphi, Indiana. Jurors preparing for their fourth day of deliberations after working through part of the weekend. Is a verdict imminent, though? ABC's Ike Ajachi is following it all. Ike, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Gio. The jury has now deliberated for 14 hours over the span of 3 days in the double murder trial of Richard Allen, a process that will continue into next week.
More than 7 years after the brutal murders of two teenage girls in Delphi, Indiana captured the headlines, this morning, verdict watch in the trial of Richard Allen. The jury has been deliberating for over 14 hours.
I honestly, why are people so supportive of Richard Allen? I've never seen a case like it. You know, people that just want to support a child murderer. Just is beyond me, I'm afraid.
This after 17 days of seeing evidence and hearing testimony about the killings of 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German in 2017.
You know, those two girls, they're what people should be supporting, their families, what they're going through. This guy, look at him. Why are people so supportive of him? You know, they've got no reason to be. This guy those eyes were the last eyes those girls were looking into when they died and they departed from this earth. Anyway, doesn't really matter in a way what will happen in the trial or what the verdict will be, because this guy, he will get his comeuppance. If you don't get it in this life, he'll get it in the next life.
Allen has pled not guilty. In their closing arguments, the prosecution showing the jury the infamous bridge guy video that Libby captured on her phone just moments before she was killed near the Monon High Bridge. Prosecutors say it's Richard Allen's face and voice. Just moments before she was killed near the Monon High Bridge. Closing arguments, the prosecution showing the jury the infamous bridge.
it's the spit of him. It's nothing like the other guy. It's the spit of him. He's the right height. It looks to me anyway, but I'm surprised that the police haven't come up with an actual analysis of his height. It's too short for the other guy. He's got the same legs. He's got the same build that he had at the time. It looks like him in the face, the fat cheeks. It's one, honest to God, it just shows you though how people see what they want to see. They don't see what's really there.
Guy video that Libby captured on her phone just moments before she was killed near the Monon High Bridge. Prosecutors say it's Richard Allen's face and voice. 52-year-old Allen, a Delphi local who worked in town at CBS, self-reported to police being at the bridge just days after the girls were found. Despite being interviewed, he didn't become a suspect until 5 years later, due to his statement being put in a filing cabinet with the wrong last name. It wasn't discovered until 2022 by a volunteer clerk. Prosecutors say they tied Allen to the crime.
No, I blame the police for a lot of this. They've dealt with this terribly, the whole thing, they have. And if this becomes a hung jury and it goes to another trial, I hope they'll get their bloody act in order a bit better. I don't think they've presented a good prosecution case for whatever reason. The trouble is, we don't know, only the people that are actually involved in this trial know all the ins and outs of what's been allowed, not allowed, this, that, and the other. So I just hope if it ends up being a hung jury and it goes to another trial, that the police make it and the prosecution make a better job of it.
By linking a bullet found at the murder scene to his gun, and that Allen confessed to the killings about 60 times while behind bars awaiting trial. The defense slammed the state's case, saying the ballistics testing and the investigation was bumbled, and that Allen was not in his right mind during those prison confessions after spending 13 months in solitary confinement, telling the jury that the United Nations defines any more than 15 days as torture.
Now, media is not allowed in the courtroom since deliberations began, so it's unclear if the jury has had any questions or notes for the judge. There are no deliberations today, and the jury will return tomorrow at 9 a.m. Guys?
All right, so no deliberations today. No deliberations today, according to this guy.
All right. Thank you for that. Joining us now to talk more about the case is ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer. Brian, thanks for being here with us. The jury got the case on Thursday. They spent 2 full days deliberating. What do you think that they're focusing on, and what evidence do you think that they're struggling with? Because this is a tough one. It could be.
Yeah, so like Ike said, the media is not in there, so we don't even know what notes they're passing on to the attorneys and the judge to figure it out. So it's like reading the tea leaves without the leaves. But in terms of the evidence, for the prosecution, they've got the fact that they have these 60-plus confessions from Richard Allen, something that I think that the jury is really struggling with. Why would you confess this many times to a crime unless you did it? But for the defense, there's no forensic evidence that actually ties Richard Allen to the scene. There's no DNA, there's none of his blood or anything. When you think of a gruesome crime like this, you think, at least he'd leave something, right? I think that's what they're really struggling over between those two sides of the case.
I know oftentimes we're often looking at how long.
I think the DNA is a big thing, isn't it? Because nowadays we've got so used to it, the DNA this, the DNA that. And having a case without any DNA, not only to convict Richard Allen, but to convict anybody else. We're not used to that now. I think people are almost in a sort of they've got hysterical over this. No DNA. Despite the fact for years we never had DNA and people were still convicted of murder without DNA. Now suddenly, if you haven't got DNA, forget it. But it's not as if there's DNA of another person there, a mystery person. There was DNA of Libby's sister, and some nutters out there going around saying, oh, well, must have been Libby's sister that murdered them or whatever. I'm sorry, get a grip. There was DNA from Libby's sister there because Libby's sister had borrowed or lent, I always get mixed up whether it's borrow or lent, a hoodie to Abby. That's why there was DNA there. Her hair was there. But apart from that, there was no DNA of anybody else. So I do think this has caused a bit of hysteria in people, because nowadays, we've got so used to having DNA. DNA has been a game changer, hasn't it, with solving crimes. So suddenly you get a crime where there isn't any. It's like everyone goes into bloody shock about it. Well, there's no DNA, there's no DNA. But, as I keep saying, you've got to remember that people have been committing murders for, years before we had DNA. And DNA now has helped us to solve a lot of murders. But, some people are very DNA aware now. And I still think there's a lot. That's why the clothes were being washed in the creek, or, did he wear gloves, or did he wash those bodies in the creek? Or he can't have washed the bodies, I suppose, because I don't know about the blood circumstances and that. I don't know, because I'm not there at the trial. I haven't got all the details. But I think just that, just the fact there's none of Richard Allen's DNA does not make him innocent, because there is nobody's DNA there. But somebody did it.
A jury has a case. And in this case, we're looking at this and saying, well, they seem to be very engaged. Does that tell you anything?
Yeah, so don't forget, this jury is sequestered. And so they're not going home. They've been sequestered since October 18th. They're working 6 days a week. Unlike most jurors that get to go home at the end of the day, they get the weekend off. And so they seem really engaged. And then in Indiana, unlike where I practice in New York or in the Southern Eastern District of New York, the jurors actually get to ask questions of the witnesses throughout the case. And they've been asking questions, engaged. And so we can see that they're really participating in this. And I think for this community, even though this jury is not from this community, they're really trying to get to the answer of who killed these two young girls.
And what about the possibility of a partial verdict if the jury is still struggling?
Yeah, so verdicts come in different forms, right? You can get guilty on all counts, not guilty. But of course, as you're mentioning, there's a partial verdict. And I think that is possible in a case like this, although probably more possible for a mistrial.
It's interesting what you say, David, because, lots of people go into solitary confinement, and you probably saw, like I did, that JLR was saying he was in solitary confinement for something like 18 months. Makes you wonder, what did he do to... He didn't say what he did to get solitary confinement for 18 months. But he was okay. He didn't start eating his own feces, and... it's easy to pretend you're crazy. It is easy to pretend you're crazy. I was reading today, but I mean, it's just hearsay or whatever. I haven't got any evidence for it, but reading what someone was saying, that he had to steel himself before he started drinking water out the toilet. He didn't just go and drink water out the toilet. He had to, he was really forced himself to do it. If someone's got, I've seen people with psychosis in real life. When someone's got psychosis, it's a terrifying thing. But I think it's quite easy to put on if you wanted to put it on. Richard Allen, he started off confessing calmly, to everyone. And then suddenly he had psychosis. He didn't have psychosis, then started confessing. But anyway, the jury will have all the full details. We're on here, we're going to say what we think. One thing I just want to remind people is not to mention other YouTube channels. If I mention it, that's okay. It's my channel, and if I want to mention another YouTube channel, that's fine. But I don't want other YouTube channels, because I don't sanction, you can come on here and talk about other YouTube channels, but I don't, if I haven't seen it, I don't know. Anyway, that's just the rule on here. Most of my regular chatters know we don't mention other YouTube channels in the chat.
Well, at this point, a partial verdict could be them saying, you know what, I think Richard Allen murdered these girls, but I didn't think he murdered them in an attempt to try to kidnap. Maybe the prosecution didn't prove the kidnapping aspect of it, but just the murder. So you can get guilty on some counts and not guilty on others. Or like I said, I think after this amount of time, mistrial is probably more of the question on everyone's lips right now.
Wow, definitely something to watch. Brian, thank you so much. As always, we appreciate it.
So they seem to think it would be, it's going to be a mistrial. So maybe it is, hey? A mistrial, a hung jury. I just hope he's not found innocent, because that, to me, a mistrial or a hung jury would be the worst result, I think. as far as the family's concerned. But even the thought that family have got to go through all this all over again is horrible, I think. Let's have a look at another news channel about this.
Day 3 of deliberations in the Delphi double murder trial has ended without a verdict. Jurors at the Carroll County, Indiana courthouse have been deliberating the fate of Richard Allen since Thursday. Allen's accused of killing 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German in 2017. Allen confessed to the crime, but defense attorneys have argued that it was coerced and he could not have committed the murders alone. The jury will continue their deliberations on Monday.
Okay, let's see if there's another one. Just looking really at all what they all say, all the different news channels. But you know, there's not much. What can we say? What can they say? This is where we are. You know, the jury's continuing. Let's have a look at CNN. Just, you know, there's what can we say? This is the situation. Jury deliberations continue. There'll be people, all, you know, this case has attracted.
Is a fantastic city. It's very.
This case has attracted attention all over the world, not only in America. And as we speak now, and as the day goes on, people will be talking about it either over YouTube or between themselves. Oops, hang on.
Linking Richard Allen to the victims in this case. There is no DNA that was found in his home linking him to the victims in this case. There is no murder weapon in this case. But what they have is a picture. They have a picture from Liberty German's phone minutes before she was murdered, prosecutors say, and that's Bridge Guy. You see him right there. That's Bridge Guy. So the question before this jury is Bridge Guy Richard Allen? Is it the same person? Is it not the same person? Now, there were two witnesses that took the stand, eyewitnesses who were out there at the Monon Trails that day. They both testified that they saw Bridge Guy. Now, on cross-examination, it got a little murky because one of them said originally, oh, he was wearing a beige jacket. And then the picture comes out, oh, no, he was wearing a blue jacket. The other woman was driving. She saw him walking, and she said he was muddy. That's her first interview with police. Second interview, months later, even a year later, oh, he was muddy. But then finally, near the end before trial, oh, no, he was muddy and bloody. And she had never said bloody before. But the reality is that Richard Allen was out there that day. So he places himself at the scene. And he went to police in 2017 saying, I was out there that day. And I just wanted to let you know, I did see 3 girls, not 2 girls. And there were 3 girls out there that day, but he proclaimed his innocence. Now, when the girls were found, their throats were slit, both of them. That's how they died. That's the cause of death right there, both of them. And the medical examiner originally said, well, I think it was a serrated blade and a straight blade. 2 different tools were used. So that also creates an issue. Wow, 1 man, 2 girls, he slits both their throats. They were not sexually assaulted at all. But then you get to the point where Richard Allen went from county jail to a state prison within a month after he was arrested. He was put in solitary confinement for 13 months. And originally he proclaimed his innocence. But as the months went on, April 2023 is when he started, he was confessing to everybody, his wife, his mother, jail guards, everybody, psychiatrists. And he even gave particular details. But at the same time, he had his legal documents in the cell with him of what the prosecution's case was. And this is evidence. He was eating his own feces. He was spreading it on himself. He was drinking the water out of the toilet. He was in a fetal position and his eyes were bulging. And he was diagnosed with psychotic disorders right then. So this jury has a lot to decide. What is fact? What is not? Is he guilty? Is there reasonable doubt?
There you go. Okay, so I tried to do, I was trying to do a poll and it won't work. So I don't know why it won't work. Let me just try one more time. It keeps saying error occurred. I don't know why. I can't. I was trying to do a poll, but it wouldn't come up. So sorry about that. Why is it now the? Oh, is it working there? Can you see the poll then? You'll probably end up with about 20 polls because I keep putting it back up again. I keep putting it back on again, and let me try that. I can't get the poll up, but oh. I just can't get it. I don't know why. 80% guilty. Oh, well, that's good. Well, in my opinion, it's good anyway. I know a lot of people don't think he's guilty, and you know what? That's fine, but I 100% think he's guilty. But let's just show the reason, one of the reasons why. I want to show one more time as I finish off. I just want to show this video one more time because this face.
He's looking at her. But look, he's like, oh, and he covers it up with something. Why would you do that? It kind of does look like a crossword puzzle, though, doesn't it? Or maybe underneath that was, maybe he had that on top of the pad and he pulls it out. You know, what's on that thing? That looks like an iPad there. You see that? Yeah. See that face he's making right there? Does that look like he is subservient to his wife? Hey, thank you. Tighten up. Hey, we're getting close. We're getting close. This is what it sounds like right here. There's a wheelchair coming up. God, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if she had something to do with his mental decline. Let's see. What's the other one? This one? Let's play that one. Look at that.
We're going down.
See? Same thing. Ginger snaps.
Down.
Hey, the cable snaps.
Shut up. It's not going to snap.
Shut up.
Enjoy reading, but it's not going to snap.
There's a wheelchair coming up. Oh, I got somebody here. Hold on. I didn't realize there was somebody sitting here. All right.
Okay, so there you go. So somebody was just saying there they've subscribed and asking for information about me, but it's all on my videos. And if I show you my channel, not only you, but something that I always forget to do, actually, I've got, you know, over 1,000 videos on my channel. You want to know more about me, you want to watch if you want to watch videos about true crime, just go onto my channel, Vicky Marie Chats. Let me just show you, you know, I can't go into my whole life story right here and now. This is my channel. And please have a look around. There's lots of videos there to watch about all sorts of different things and playlists, true crime playlist about different cases that I've covered. There's a playlist about Delphi, about Australian crime, Madeleine Kingsbury, etc. Bit of everything. Micah Miller, etc. British crime, American crime, you name it, it's there, and also and little extras as well. So, yeah, thank you for watching. I'm going now. I'll keep you updated. Oh, let me do the poll. The results of the poll. It was on 80% last time I saw it, but not many people had voted. There's more people watching than had voted. I think it's still on 80%. There's not many people voted. It's not coming up. Oh, don't you just love technology? Bye, Seffi. Bye, Jojo. I did the poll. The result of the poll come up. It's not working properly for some reason. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll keep updated on this. When will the verdict come? Will it come tomorrow? And can we all just spare a thought for whatever happens and whatever you believe about whether Richard Allen's guilty or is not guilty? Can we all just spare a thought for Libby and Abby's families we're waiting agog for this verdict, but can you imagine how it is for them? Because this is their daughters who have been murdered by somebody, and if it's not Richard Allen, it's somebody else, and they're having to go through this torture of waiting to see what the verdict is and not knowing if they've got to go through it all over again. So thank you, David. Let's have a thought for Libby's parents. In fact, I'm going to put my candle up on there. For Libby, for Abby, and for their family, because they're the ones that are really suffering here. And of course, Richard Allen's family, he's got a daughter as well. I don't know how she thinks about all this. But, there's a lot of people suffering here, waiting for this result, not only Richard Allen. Okay, thanks very much. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Bye.